I said we're rescheduling
right now. Everybody's.
Oh, we're live now. Here we are. Hi, everyone. We are in our last interview of the week. We are on day 5 of the Empower, Ignite, and Soar Character Summit. And we had a reschedule, and we are very, very happy that Ashley is on the mend. We're going to call it on the mend. But welcome, Ashley Carroll. Ashley is a mom. She's a blogger. She's a podcaster. She's a gluten-free pancake making mama.
Yeah.
Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. It took me several neti pots to get here, but we're good, and I'm so happy to be here. So
excellent. Tell us a little bit about your family, and then tell us about what made you begin the journey to becoming a blogger and podcaster.
Yeah, so I've been married almost 8 years, and then we have a 7, about to be 8-year-old, and 4, about to be 5-year-old, and yeah, we recently just downsized. So if you are into minimalism, we are living that life right now.
Which I think is awesome. I loved watching your journey on Instagram stories, going from huge house to, hey, everybody, we're going to put all of this into, is it a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment?
Yeah, 3-bedroom apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And everybody thinks that we're insane, but it has absolutely been the best.
Good.
Like, the best. But yes. And so, yeah, I am the podcast host of It Takes a Village podcast, and it's my baby. I love it. I created it based on the fact that going through motherhood, you know, being a woman is like one journey in and of itself. And then when you get married, that's another transformation that you have to go through as a woman, being a partner to somebody else and then figuring out who you are in that role. And then also when you have a child, then that's like another fork in the road to where you have to figure out who you are and, you know, all that sort of thing. And so through those struggles, I realized that there were so many things that I was going through, and I really wanted to not have other women go through it alone. Like I felt like, you know, we'd meet somebody at the park and they'd say, you know, I'm really struggling with it, but I haven't told anyone. And then it's like, but why? Because so was I. And if we had known each other then, we had talked to then we could have helped each other out. And so that's what my podcast is to do, is to get real. It's to talk about all the things that we don't normally say out loud. And yeah, we get real on there.
It's fantastic. And you know, when I first met you was a few months, about 6 months ago, but one of your recent interviews during that time was Dr. Michelle Borba, who actually I interviewed for this this program, and who I had met in person a few months ago. So that was really cool. And you've had some really great speakers interviewing on your podcast.
Yeah.
And I think you just interviewed, you just released your 50th episode not too long ago. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really excited about that. Yeah, and I've had the honor of interviewing some like amazing like women that I never imagined I could talk to, but because of they believe in the idea that we need to, you know, have community, and they're
support each other.
They're just all in. And so, yeah, definitely with the first thing that I, you know, really was on my heart to talk about today was basically going through this sickness. And I feel like that was like almost something that was supposed to happen before this. I don't know. Who knows? But because of it, like I was just thinking about how through it all, I felt like we judge ourselves and we feel like we're not doing enough. We're not being enough. And I'm laying in bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this. And oh my gosh, my toddler is in front of the TV and he's been in front of the TV for like days. And my daughter is making her own lunch and it has no meat in it, like, or, you know, whatever. And
it has potato chips in it.
Yes. And I just think it's so easy for us to believe those things that we tell ourselves, like, oh my gosh, we're an awful, you know, mom because our kid is eating Cheetos for the 3rd day in a row, or my, you know, and my child he's been sick as well. And so he's been watching TV in the room with me and I've been sleeping beside him. And the thing I keep telling myself is it's just a season. Like we have, you know, it's just a season. He's not going to be 21 and addicted to TV. He's not going to be like,
and you're sick. You guys were both sick. I mean, you had the flu. It's not So that's it's a great way to lead into your talk today, because everything you do between the blog, your home life, and the podcast, you have taken in all of this knowledge from these amazing speakers, and you're going to share with us today a couple things that really weighs heavy on your heart that you think everyone should know.
Yes. So along this journey, one of the biggest things is, I think, and that one of the biggest things that I've battled with is the truth versus the lies. And I think for me, if you're a person that needs like hard, concrete facts to where you can't just have somebody tell you like, oh, you look good today. And you're like, like, come on. Like, I'm wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. What are you talking about? But like for me, it's like, okay, I can say I'm feeling like I'm a bad mom. I haven't done this or that, or, I haven't loved on my husband enough, and so for me, it's to write down, what am I telling I'm failing at my business. I'm failing at volunteering at my kids' school. And then I counter that with what did my kids really think about how much I volunteer? Do they really care that I was the one who did all this and that, or were they just happy that I just showed up? And so it's like reminding myself, well, my husband says that I'm sexy, even though my hair is messed up and my nose is red and I'm snotty and, all this stuff. And then I could be like, oh my gosh, babe, like, be quiet. but like for real. And then it's, how do I counter that? It's, well, my husband really sees me as the woman he married, and he knows that I'm just like any other human, and I have stuff he knows.
So when you're flipping the switch, I love that term, flip the switch. When you're flipping the switch, you're taking the lie that you're telling yourself and you're replacing it with the truth.
Right, exactly.
It's fantastic.
And
awesome.
Yes. And I think that, it's something that is really important to me, and I wouldn't do as diligently if I didn't have kiddos watching me, because my son is going to realize like his wife one day is going to struggle with these same things, and he's going to, you know what I mean? And my daughter, I don't want her, and the things that I tell her about her personality, her being strong, her being brave, her being beautiful without any makeup on, those are the same things that I have to model. So we went through a phase with my daughter, and she's 7, like I said, but she wanted, like, I was putting on makeup and she was watching me, and she was like, Mom, why did we put on makeup? And I was like, oh, well, sometimes it's fun to do. And it makes you get a little more dressed up sometimes. And then she's like, but you always tell me that I'm beautiful as I am, like without any makeup. And so she was like, Mom, I don't really think you need makeup, and I don't like you wearing makeup. And so I legit like went almost a month of wearing no makeup, or a little bit of makeup, because I wanted to prove to her that what I tell you is true and I believe it. And I think that we just have to test ourselves and trust ourselves in that way that, we really are what we think we are, like what others think we are, what we know ourselves as. We're good moms, we're good women, and especially the women watching this summit, obviously their growth is important to them. And so if you have an effort, then you're doing an amazing job just doing that.
Showing up and trying. And I will tell you, we've had similar conversations about makeup. Yes. And a big one for my girls is right now they're seeing like a lot of different hair colors. And I tell them it's a way of self-expression. And I said, I don't color my hair, but I really do think makeup is fun, and it's a way of expressing myself. And it's a way of expressing my my vivaciousness. And so some women have blue hair, some men have pink hair, and I call it a self-expression for sure. So I love that. And now you talk about It Takes a Village, which I think is such a powerful term. Love that your podcast is called It Takes a Village. We heard from Natalie Gingrich, who was a community founder a couple days ago. She created More Mom Movement, and she talked about the importance of nurturing and developing your village, and that you can't have a village without putting in to that village. So if you have, neighbors are part of your village, like you have to be sure that you're developing those relationships. Like a village is an effort. So that was kind of like the foundation that we have on villages now. But will you expand your theory and your take on It Takes a Village?
Yes. Yeah, I think that is absolutely true. I think that we have to make an effort, especially when we get older, like just with time, you have to schedule it in. But I think that we weren't ever meant to do life just in our own homes by ourselves. We walk, like our habits are to walk in and out of our front doors, and we don't know many of our neighbors. We don't know many of that are in our community. And then right now, what worries me is that we have social media, and it can be such a good tool, but we find ourselves using it to compare ourselves with these, flat screens and people that we think that look amazing. And, then we're just lonely, we're isolated, and that's not how we're supposed to do life. And in fact, in like the Middle East, it's like families do life as a family. So, you're taking care of your cousin's kid, and when you get sick, everybody's cooking meals for you. Everybody's in your home. Like nothing is done solo. And so for me, it was like, wow, that is really something that I want to be a part of, that I want to create. And so even if you can't find those people in real life, maybe you're watching and you do have like a tribe, and you're very lucky. But then there are women who are watching that are like, well, I don't even know where to start. And so for me, it's okay, well, just as my podcast, which is why I called It Takes a Village, if you can't find your tribe, they can be through podcasts. Like you can connect through some of the things that I've talked about, but also, it doesn't have to be in reality. It can be virtually. You can meet a friend on Facebook, reach out to her, and she may live like states away or countries away, or on Voxer. Like that's how you and I met. Started connecting was through Voxer, really. And so I just want women to know, like, it doesn't have to be that you go out and you I don't know, mom date at the park, because that's the worst. You're like, do I ask her for her number? Like, how do I move forward with this?
I'm sorry, I keep moving. It's just I feel like I'm really dark. No, I love your mom date at the park, because I have a girlfriend who was full-time working parent. Yeah. Went from full-time working parent to stay-at-home mom. Oh, yeah. And she felt really lonely, and she felt really awkward, like at the park. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not making mom friends. But what started to happen is she started to join different groups, and she started to find her people. And it took a little bit of time. It's not going to happen overnight. And I do love the concept of the virtual friends, because and she might be tuning in right now, I have a virtual buddy, Barbara Gruner. She's a school counselor in Texas. We have been friends for 5 years now, and we have never met. And Barbara once contacted me and told me this problem that she was having. And I actually figured out a way that I could help her being in Michigan. And it solves the problem. And it didn't take a ton of effort from me, but it was just me reaching out and saying, look, I can do this, this, and this. And I think this would, solve your problem. And she's done things for me. She was part of this summit. She's so well educated. And it's just really cool that you can have a business buddy, or I always call her my blogger bestie, because we both started as bloggers, in this kind of speaking space. So I love that. I think it's a great point that you make. And the village can be such a wonderful part of your life, especially as your children get older and you need to reach out and you need help. They're there for you.
For sure. And I think that another thing to keep in mind is that you may not have that one person. I think that in movies, they accentuate like this friendship between two people, and it's like they're always there for you for everything, and they can solve all your problems. You can talk to them about anything, and that's not necessarily true. You might have a friend that you go to for business. You might have a friend that you go to talk about your marriage. You might have another friend that you can go to that's really good at helping you with like just structure in your life, or somebody who's just your fun friend. Like, you go out and do stuff, but you don't really get really personal with them. So I think that idea that you have to have like this one bestie that's just, having in your bed, watching movies, you're having sleepovers, whatever. Because I used to watch those and be like, why don't I have a friend like that? And it doesn't exist all the time.
And it's made up of many friends, which is what I'm hearing. Yes. So we are running out of time here, but I want to kind of wrap up with your last talking point on how we can't measure ourselves and our worth based on what we think others are doing. So tell us a little bit about that before we wrap it up.
Yeah. So I think that the biggest thing that I want women to walk away from this is that you have gifts. You were given gifts that not another woman was given, and she was given gifts that you weren't given. And so you can't measure yourself up to her Pinterest birthday party, because that might be her jam, man. Like, she might be able to knock out some like cool, goodie bags and all that stuff. And your thing might be just being a good communicator, or, a good listener, or a good cook, or a good this or that. And your house might not be organized, but you might be, super. But so I think that just acknowledging what your gifts are and letting other people have their gifts and do their thing, and not judging yourself or measuring yourself up to them or what you think it looks like, because that's not always, like, you're not going to always be able to just go 100% in all the things.
In all the things, because there are a lot of things in this role called motherhood.
Yes. And I remember talking to Jess Connolly in an interview one time, and she was like, man, like, birthday parties are not my thing. We're a family of, like, I think she has 3 or 4 kids. And so she's like, if I did a birthday party for every kid, we'd have birthday parties like for months at a time, because her sister has several kids. And so she was just like, we're just a family that doesn't do birthday parties. And I could measure myself up to all the moms that, were throwing these crazy parties. But that's just not how I roll. And I'm cool with that. And her kids are cool with that. And so I think asking yourself, who are you measuring yourself up against? Is it yourself? Is it your like peers? And then just really focusing on who's important there. And most of the time it's our kids, it's our family. And if they're happy, then we're nailing it. And I think that is the most important thing.
That's awesome. And one of the things I love about social media, well, the negative part is you start to measure yourself up, but if you handle it the right way and you realize that people are sharing their positives typically on social media, but I oftentimes will share my negatives too, because I know people want to see that I'm a human being, and I truly am. I mean, I literally did not shower today, hung out with my son drinking coffee. Yeah, I pulled my hair up a ponytail. I got a necklace on, and now I'm fancy, but like, I made a priority that I was going to spend some time with Dex before doing this. And yesterday, a blogger, her name is Kelly Hampton, who I just adore. And, she shares a lot of truths, which I really appreciate. She does birthday parties. Her gift is birthday parties.
Yeah.
But yesterday she dumped out her purse, and she called it like the purse contents challenge. And so she was encouraging people on Instagram to dump out your purse and take a picture of it. And I did mine. And I was like, oh, there's one dirty sock. There's one dirty sock. Like, I had, there's the candy bar wrapper from day one of the summit that I went to the Dollar Tree before picking up Dex from childcare, and I ate an entire candy bar. So, it's like, we are real human beings, and don't be afraid to show your vulnerability. And then don't be afraid, like you said, to celebrate your own gifts.
Yeah, for sure.
This has been amazing. This is such a great way to wrap up the week because this week has given me some truths of areas that I need to work on. And I had a moment with my husband. I was like, I'm the host and I'm kind of feeling bad about myself. And he's like, stop. But, I'm taking in a ton of information, and we're going to have our strengths and we're going to have our weaknesses. So I'm so happy to have this as our last talk of the week, because it is the truth. It's the truth that we have gifts, and it takes a village. And I just so appreciate you being a part of the Summit Village. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
I put the link below to your, you are giving away a blog post that is amazing, because it has your top 10 best podcast episodes when the struggle is real.
Yes.
So for those of you who are like, I need to get out of this place, momming is hard, click on the link below and you can find 10 of her favorite podcast episodes that speak to that.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ashley.
Thank you.
Bye.